Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite warlock practicing necromancer. And tonight, I'm replying to a question on blacklisting. A lot of companies, banking systems, and job related careers actually do this, and they don't tell you about it. Now, Jerry and Michael Brooks asked this question after I had posted a updated research thing on the homeless and job related topics, especially from a occult perspective. So his question was, what more is there? He'd like to learn more. So I told him I'd do a video. So here it is. If you remember, roughly, what was it, about 2 years ago? About 2 years ago, Mark Zuckerberg and his company, I believe it's Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken, Facebook, Microsoft, whatever you want to call it, laid off like 500 people just before Christmas. Now, they claimed that it was due to espionage or wrongful termination and stuff like this. When in reality, it was them booting the dead weight out. Okay. Now, what do I mean by the dead weight? Think about it this way: anybody who tries to do the right thing, let's say, for an example, you are trying to make changes. You're a manager, perhaps, or you're a shift leader, and you stand in the way of the established norms set from above. Okay? This is a problem for the company. Now, a lot of people would go to HR and they would say, hey, this is going on. Now, as I told my son's mother recently, I said, you'd want to go to HR and create a paper trail. Okay? Because a lot of companies, if you just get up and get done, for an example, which is what she did, she had like 96 hours of PTO overtime. And they refused to let her take a vacation, but yet at the same time, they're bitching about it, about the overtime. But yes, she was the only one that they constantly called back. Okay, or I should say to call in. So she finally had enough after 2 years and said, I'm done. I'm done with the bullshit. I'm done with this shit at this place. You got two other CRMAs, you got all these certified nurses aides and such. They can do this fucking work. Why are you not calling them on? You're playing favoritism, right? So what I told her to do is go to HR. Don't believe HR because their job is only to look out for the company. That's all they're doing. And when they come to you and they do all these seminars or they do all this, how should I say this? All this investigative aspect, it is not for your benefit. It's for the company. They're looking for anything that they can fuck you over on. Okay. So when you quit your job or you put your 2 weeks in or you just get done, then all of a sudden, well, state law says we don't have to pay you your PTO. Well, it doesn't matter if your company is located out of Texas, California, or wherever. If you have a branch in, say, Maine, or you have a branch in New York, perhaps one of these small little towns, like, say, let's go with Clarksville, Texas. Okay, you still have to pay them legally for the hours that they worked. That means you have to cash, that company has to cash you out. But companies today, sadly, are trying to get away with murder, which is why I tell you guys, back up what you preach, right? I always tell you, back up what you preach, okay? Know your rights. I've been saying this, I don't know how long now. Know your rights and back up what you preach. Go to HR, set up that paper trail. Go to the state, file with OSHA, file with the state. You got more things right there, okay? So if the company wants to fuck you over, which they will do, guess what? Now you've got a paper trail. Now the state has a paper trail going, wait a minute here. You've got 96 hours of PTO, which means OSHA's going to have to pay you off and then go after the company because they're following the money trail. They're following that paper trail. That's in your favor, okay? So even if you get left on good terms, they have what is called a blacklist. Do not rehire, okay? Now, you look at certain places like, let's go with fast food, okay? Let's say you worked for Dunkin' Donuts or one of the big chains like Burger King, or let's go with McDonald's, okay? These guys always have a high turnover rate. They burn out their employees very, very quickly. So they're going to have roughly about 100, maybe 150% turnover rate, which is the highest in the state, by the way, outside of security. Security is like 150 to 300% turnover rate, just to let you know. Now, consumerism is a big business. So when you leave, you could leave on good terms, meaning you put your 2 weeks in, you did the 2 weeks, and you get done. Well, like I said, this particular type of company, this type of business, they'll let you work a week and then go, don't come back. Don't bother filling in for that final week. No, don't bother with it. Right there, they're fucking you over. Okay? They're planning to blacklist you. If you get a book by, let's go with William Cooper, Dark Psychology, Manipulation. Very, very good book, and I actually got this. I read the first couple of chapters. I think I'm now on chapter 6, if I'm not mistaken, of this book. But I read the first few chapters, and I'm thinking to myself, this is stuff that they pulled with me. This is all the excuses that they did when I worked for them. Okay? And supposedly, I'm their best employee going between stores, baking, pulling extra hours, and all this stuff, right? So, and then you got my son's mother who worked in a different field doing the exact same thing. Wow. But unlike her, I just faded into the background and disappeared. Instead of the general manager calling me directly to find out what's going on, he had a 70-year-old woman blowing up my phone for a day and a half. I purposely waited to see if he'd grow a pair and actually call me directly. It's not like he didn't have my number. So, anyways, so how does this relate to blacklisting? Well, think about it for just a minute. They butter you up. They kiss your ass. They offer you more work. But yet they're going to deny you your numbers and title, right? If they expect you to be a shift leader, for an example, then you need to have that title and that rank so you can control the computers. Now, when they don't do that, it pisses off the customers, which complain. Okay? And they'll use that as an excuse to kick your ass out. Even though you sit there and go, hey, where's my numbers? You promised me that you'd give me back the numbers. Well, guess what? You're claiming now that it's a computer issue. Oh, really? But yet I've got other managers saying all you have to do is go in and go, done. Wow, right? But yet you're going to make excuses why giving a part timer a title is going to hurt the company, right? So you're basically making waves by fighting them, right? So all of a sudden you're getting written up because you started making waves. You started arguing with them about state law. You started backing up what you preach. Right there, you became a threat. So not only did you become a threat, they're buttering you up. They're trying to get you to lower your guard, hoping that you will forget and move on. Okay? But when you put in your 2 weeks or you just simply get done, guess what? You're automatically on the blacklist because you chose to make waves. You tried to change what they didn't want changed. I had employees coming to me asking me for advice on how to do things. When I went to a different store, I taught them how to do their jobs. If I go to order something like, say, a pup cup, and there's a new person on the register, I'll tell them, go into local, upper right hand corner, probably the second row from the far right. You'll see it up at the top. They don't teach. They give you a 1 minute video and put your ass on the floor. That's not training. That's not instructing. Okay? And when you make them aware of this, you become a threat. So when you get done, even if you got done with your 2 weeks, if they don't want you back, they're going to switch you over to do not rehire. That's called a blacklist, which is illegal, by the way. There are plenty of lawyers that will tell you this. So here it is. So how do you find out that you're on the blacklist? Let's say, for an example, you got a general manager that is in your favor. He or she is in your corner and wants to hire you. Even if they're a district manager, they will lie right to your face and go, "Hey, yeah, I want to hire you." Number one, they're pulling your chain. Or number two, this is the first clue. When I reapplied a few months back, I went to the store closest to me and I let the general manager know, hey, I was cleared for working again. My body is up and running and I'm ready to come back. I am bored and I am anxious. Well, I only hire the best and I didn't see you in the computer, which means you could have been blacklisted, blocked. The term is blocked, which means you've been blacklisted. Wow, okay. You pay attention to certain cues, certain information. So let's say, for example, you've got a general manager that's willing to hire you. HR is going to step in and go, no, establish norms. No. Wow, okay. But yet they're going to promote registered sex offenders to positions of general manager. And they get to work with underage kids, teenagers. Wow, okay. You're going to hire drug addicts that steal money and blame your current crew. Okay. No apologies there. And then you're going to terminate half your crew based off upper management, meaning district managers and above, hiring that drug addict. You might as well have terminated yourself at that point. But because you called it out, you got blacklisted, you got blocked. So even if you get a manager that wants to hire you, HR is going to come in and go, no established norms, don't do it. Can't hire them. And it's funny because you see this more and more. Right now, since the late 2024, the valuations for 2025 isn't in, so keep that in mind. 177,480 people are homeless because they can't pay their bills, because jobs will not hire them. So here's the other kicker that is it's really funny. You got all these jobs out there claiming to be hiring, but yet when you go in to get hot, to fill out an application or find out, hey, how do I get the job? Guess what? Oh, we're not hiring. We got a full crew. See, this is called mind games. It's dark psychology, which is what they're basically doing. And then, like I said, you find out all this other stuff. Wow. Okay. So when you do this, suddenly you're not in the computer. So what I did was I sat there and I filled out probably about 3 different applications with 3 different types of hours just to fuck with them. McDonald's called me in for not 1 but 2 interviews and then not 1 fucking call after that. Interesting how that is, right? So nobody's picking up between the owners in this area on that front, which basically means you're effectively done in that field. That's your first indicator right there, when nobody's hiring you. Okay? When nobody is hiring you in that field of your chosen field, like say cook, baker, let's go with working in retail. Okay? Nobody's hiring you. Why? Did you ever stop to wonder why? It's most likely because you've been blocked, which is effectively ending your career in that field. Okay? I can't tell you how many times I've heard stories from past employees on how they've been blocked because they had a heart attack, which is a medical thing, and they had to be out for about a month and a half. So while one manager is keeping that position open for him, for that person, that general manager is constantly getting pressure from the district managers. Terminate that employee. Hire somebody else. This is what companies do. And like I said, with the PTO, number 1, they'll bitch about it. Number 2, they will deny you it. And number 3, they don't want to cash it out. Why? Because you're taking out of their mouths. They're taking out of their pockets just to pay you off. So they're going to use every dirty trick in the book. It would be like dealing with law enforcement. Okay? Have you ever noticed in law enforcement when they will ask you to step out of your vehicle? Have you been drinking? Hey, we're looking for somebody. You look just like them. Do you have any ID on you? This is when you want to look at your constitutional right and go, fuck off. Plain and simple. Fuck off. I don't have to show you shit. Number 1, you got the 4th Amendment, okay, which literally says that you can't search me or my property without a warrant. Number 2, you have the 5th Amendment, which states you don't have to fucking talk to them anyways. The first 10 amendments are the ones that is basically for your safety, so you don't get fucked over by the system. But a lot of people don't realize that. So by the time you get to the 14th Amendment, the Free Travel Act, well, guess what? Underneath the Free Travel Act, the only way you can be hindered is by national security, or the World Health Organization. Okay? And companies today will try to limit the way you talk. Well, guess what? That's the First Amendment. You add the religion underneath that, that's another violation. You go to your labor laws of whatever state you're in. Look at how that's going to intercede with their little plans for their company. Wow. Okay. And then you'll wonder, why is it when you got done, suddenly they don't want to rehire you? They'll make excuses for you. Well, I've got a list of people that come before you. Well, we all know that if you've ever been in management, you'll realize this is nothing more than a smokescreen. Meaning, they don't want you. Why? Because you've been blocked, you've been banned. And it's only a matter of time before they take out a do not trespass clause against you. So I can't tell you how many times I've seen that happen too. It's downright ironic. You'll see it coming when you get so used to it. Nowadays, it's more of the fact that if you're homeless, guess what? You cause a stir, you do something that they don't like, they'll ban you. It's called CT. They'll CT you from the premises. Wow. Which is basically another form of blocking. But either way you look at it, in today's world, this is happening more and more often. So the best thing for you to do is to look at your rights, know your rights, and to stand your ground. If you have to, take them to fucking court. You know, Duncan in my area has at least 5 active lawsuits that I'm aware of. And that's just over the last 4 years. Wow. Okay. Now, when you get into the banking system, this is a different aspect of being blocked. It would be like you getting out of college and going to apply for a job, and they sit there and say, well, we want 2 to 5 years worth of experience. Well, you're not getting people with anywhere near that level of experience because they've all moved on, or they're already working for you. So how do you get that experience if people and companies don't hire you? Think about that. How do you expect somebody to get that experience if you don't give them the opportunity to gather that experience? Hypocrites, right? Hypocritical notion right there. Now, like I said, let's go with the banking system. Okay? If you look at what matters in today's economic system, it's not coins, it is not money, it's not the dollar bills. No, it's not even checks. It's deposits. Okay? So when you look at going in and getting a loan, for an example, let's say, for an example, you're trying to get a business loan or a housing loan or, let's say, a car loan, and you don't have a reputation with that bank, then they're going to deny you. They'll claim that it is your credit score. But here's the thing about your credit score. It means shit. It means shit. Okay? Here it is. I had a manager at a bank one day tell me, and I found this funny as all hell. You could have a score of, say, 732. Okay? 732 Equifax, and let's say 692 TransUnion. Okay? You could have zero debt, okay? Zero debt, but they're going to deny you because they look at your credit card score or they look at your credit score, and what we see on, like, say, what was that called? Sesame something, which is similar to Credit Karma. Let's just go with Credit Karma. So if you're looking at your credit card, your Credit Karma account, and you see 700s and low 700s, high 600s, that's what you claim to get, right? Well, guess what? To them, they've got a whole nother system that tells them that you are 1 to 200 points below what you think you have. Wow. And then when you get into finances and you start understanding the actual system and how money works, how the system works, you realize that all that money that you have in your account doesn't stay or remain in your account, but are given to other people. As long as they have it in stock for when you need it, they'll give it to other people. But yet, when you go in to do this, it's ironic. You get dumped, right? You get denied. I remember in my youth, I went in for car loans, and I was denied left and right until I found a dealer that was willing to work with me personally. Hell, my son's mother went through this one dealership, and the guy said, and I will quote you on this, and he said, there's more than one way to gain credit. The banks will either accept it or they'll deny it. Either way, I'm willing to work with you. Okay, that's cool. So you get to work with a dealership and pay them for the title in the car. Interesting. And this is normally a used car dealership that you can do this with. Now, the other way is that if you have a good relationship with a bank, let's say your bank, then the bank's willing to work with you, even if it's far superior than what you normally would go for to have them pay for. For years, I was paying about $5,000 per vehicle because to me, it doesn't really matter because as soon as I get done with that vehicle, I'll trade it in for another one, or I'll run that one into the ground and then go get another one. Well, the last time I went in, I went from a $5,000 or a $7,000 vehicle to a $23,000 vehicle. Wow. My bank was willing to work with me, especially since I dropped about 17 on my car, right up front in cash. That left $19,500 to pay off. So the bank bought it flat out right from the dealership, and now I got to pay them back with interest, which is basically saying you are going to pay twice for the same vehicle. So that goes to show you the difference between being fresh out of school with no credit, no experience within the workforce, to, say, for an example, getting done with a company even. There is an actual list that your name gets put on either way saying, don't fucking help this person. Don't give them aid. Do not hire them. And it's funny because my son's mother was actually associated with a couple con artists, if you will. I mean, everybody knew it, but she did it anyways. So what was interesting here is she lost not one, but two bank accounts. Her name was removed from her son's account because of this. And they would not work with her at all. So by the time she got her latest car, or the last couple of cars, they had to latch it onto my name just for her to get the car. Why? Because I have a good standing, where she didn't. Now that she's paid off all the debts, outside of the college aspect, you know, she is doing good, and I'm proud of her. But you see the point there. You have to have a good relationship with the banking systems or the company. You have to have that experience. So here's another aspect here. When you go to apply for a job, just out of an example, when you go to apply for a job and you utilize what they call a resume, okay, a lot of people don't realize this. Most people coming off, let's say, for an example, an 8-year work detail with a certain company, and you're looking forward to going to a different company for a different challenge. You write down every experience over 25 years worth of working. Okay, keep in mind, I actually started working when I was in junior high. Back then, that was allowed. Today, you have to be at least 15 years old to be able to get a job, but you're going to have a permit. Okay? Then you can get a job if you're 16 years old. Okay? So, even at that point, jobs will either deny you or take you. But depending on, like I said, the type of career that you're going for and what you're in will dictate if you're hired or you're blocked. Okay? Now, look at it this way. In 3 years, just 3 years of working for my last employer, I watched, I don't know how many employees come and go. And then you realize they weren't joking about the high turnover rate. But yet you're going to rehire a manager, but you're going to deny one of your best employees that got sick and had to go for medical treatment. Okay. So that person gets blocked while you bring back a manager. Okay. Interesting. So they're picking and choosing, which is also illegal. So you're singling out people, which is against the labor laws. It's a labor law violation. You have discrimination against those on Social Security. Wow, another violation. You have equality violations. Huh, interesting. Okay. You got the corporate mandate of promoting from within, which is what their propaganda is, by the way. If you listen to the radio and the commercials when you go into a restaurant, you'll hear the declaration of come work for this company and build your career. Wow. But yet, we're not hiring. What references do you have that make you a candidate for this position? Oh, you went to college. Wow. Okay. Like that dictates that you get a position. Wow. Okay. But yet they look at this, and this, and all of a sudden they type your name in, and guess what? You've been blocked somewhere along the line. You don't get a call back. You don't get the job. It's probably a good thing that you get into things like investing, or you get into looking at starting your own business, because that's the only way you're going to work in that field ever again. Interesting, right? So you have all these factors that come into play when it comes to blocking or being blocked, blacklisted. It doesn't matter if you're in the big business, small business aspect, it doesn't. Every corporation has some form of list that you will be placed on if they don't fucking like you. Now, somebody like me that sat there and taught the employees everything that they know, from the penal codes to the established rights of the employee, you know, the difference between, say, for example, the Ramsey Law and the First Amendment based off religious rights, for an example, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, titles VI and VII, you know. So you see what I mean, okay? You become a threat to the company, and therefore they're not going to rehire you. So that's basically a huge chunk of blacklisting that's going into play there, which is set against you. And then they're going to prevent you from working for any other company because you've been put on that blacklist. And most of them go for the same fucking list. And they have a list of everything. Doesn't matter if you go from Dunkin' to McDonald's, McDonald's to, say, Burger King, Burger King to Tim Hortons. It doesn't matter because you are considered blacklisted. So, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. And Jerry Michael Brooks, I hope this answered your question. I hope it's been enlightening. Hope it's been educational. So remember the two rules that I've always tried to, lay out for you. Whatever you preach, always back it up with actual knowledge, references, and sources. And always make yourself available to the public. Like I said, you can go underneath YouTube, you can go underneath Facebook, wherever. You can go into your legal or the legal departments. You can talk to lawyers. They're going to tell you exactly what I just did. Okay? So you can actually back that up that way. All right? So have a good night. Have a good weekend. And until next time, I'm out.